Oh, oh, okay. No. Why can I sometimes? Hey, echo? I just this like last week. Eh, Excellent. Entertain. Wait, that I didn't change any of my settings. Okay. Hello, hello. That's not oh, feel like letting me know if they can hear me in the chat. Wait. We'll just can I hear myself? If I say anything? Oh, can't hear shit. Oh wait, I can. Am I just supposed to trust that I can be heard? I guess unless somebody shows up and says, "Hey, you're talking to yourself," I won't know. Really hot in here. Oh, yeah, this is kind of weird. Dream when like normally Find time, it's like night. So folks are watching. Not that a lot are watching, but you know what I mean. Anyway, um, I was struggling for a minute to figure out what to talk about. Then I just figured, like, hey, what's like some stuff pissing you off lately? And one of the things that's for is Texas 23rd Congressional District Representative race. Okay. Okay. Supposed to. Oh, I'm smart. Okay. Picture. Fucking big. But. Oh, wait. Um, so let's see here. So the reason why I don't even live in Texas, I live in Colorado. But the Texas 23rd Congressional District is currently past their primaries, and the two candidates that are running against each other are Brandon Herrera who is a gun YouTuber, and Katie Padilla Stout. So Katie is the Democrat and Brandon is the Republican. And Brandon's a fine YouTuber. I think it's great. He teaches people gun safety. I think not enough people know gun safety in America. I think that's something that should be taught in like elementary school every year all the way through high school. But I don't think he would make a good representative of Texas' 23rd congressional district, especially because Christ, this trying to find like a good example of. Oh, I'll just read the Wikipedia. How about we do that, guys? Uh, um, accidentally make. Okay, so this is the district, like a fucking fourth of Texas, and it runs along the majority of Texas's border with Mexico north of the Rio Grande, and it stretches from western San Antonio to El Paso. So that's a big, big area. Um, and it's pretty red. So right now, sorry, dead air. Right now, the current representative is some dude named Tony Gonzalez. And Tony, it was dumb and decided to sleep with one of his staffers. And then after he did that, uh, tried to kill herself by setting herself. I know, crazy, right? Well, he was kind of like the presumptive Republican primary nominee after that controversy. The person challenging him, Brandon Herrera, won essentially. He dropped out of the race, so he kind of automatically won. And I went over this in another stream, so it kind of feels like I'm retreading a lot of stuff. But essentially, you know what? I'll just read this article. I feel like it explains where I'm coming from a lot better than I can just kind of off the cuff explain to anyone. Okay. So this is the Texas Tribune. So with Tony Gonzalez out, Democrats sense an opening against new hardline GOP nominee Brandon Herrera. Herrera's history of brash comments um, and the leftward drift of Hispanic voters has renewed Democrats' interest in the 23rd Congressional District, which runs from San Antonio to El Paso. So That's Brandon Herrera. That's the dude that I don't really care for that much. As a congressman, totally cool if he wants to be a YouTuber. I think that's great. I'm live on YouTube right now. I think, hopefully. Um, so yeah, when Katie Padilla Stout first announced a bid for Texas's 23rd congressional district, neither the former teacher nor the Republican held seat were on any Democrats' radar. But now that the Republican incumbent has dropped out of the race amid a scandal, and a hardline gun activist YouTuber with a history of edgy, we'll call it edgy, controversial comments has taken his place as the GOP nominee, Padilla Stout's phone has started ringing more with both Texans and Washingtonians. Washington, Washington, whatever. And on the other end, since she's won last week's Democratic primary, Padilla Stout, a San Antonio attorney, was not recruited by Democratic groups in DC to run for the district, but Democrats are increasingly enthused by her candidacy, and a convergence of circumstances they believe gives them a chance to win the sprawling border district for the first time since 2012. So I think a lot of points in that like paragraph alone are super key. So she's from the area, so she's from San Antonio. I have family from San Antonio, and I think that that's super helpful to be from the district. I know there was a super progressive candidate, Kat Abu Ghazaleh, who I might be saying her name wrong, who ran for Congress in one district, and then her and her partner moved to like another state and ran in that district. And one of the things that went against her was she wasn't from the area, so she didn't know people very well, or the culture of the community. And I think that that worked against her. So that's something she's going for. I also really like the fact that she's an attorney. I feel like even though within our government, a lot of people are attorneys, that's a very helpful and important like position to have because you're typically more knowledgeable about the law and we're expecting these people to write laws, right? So that's a huge plus for me. And then the fact that she wasn't recruited by the Democratic um what is it, like the DNC or the DCCC, who focus on trying to get people to run in different districts. I think that that's not valued enough generally within the different areas that Democrats run, but it to me it shows a level of, like it says, enthusiasm uh, for her candidacy that she wouldn't have otherwise had. Like basically, she saw the circumstances of the district and was like, I need to run. So a former elementary school teacher in the Northside Independent School District in San Antonio, Padilla Stout now works on child welfare cases at her family law firm. She grew up between San Antonio and rural South Texas, a background she says can help her navigate challenges in all parts of the district, which includes a mix of rural and urban communities from the Alamo City to outside El Paso. Um, she will face Brandon Herrera, a gun manufacturer and YouTuber known as the AK Guy, with a large online following. Herrera moved to the San Antonio area in 2021, first challenged. Oh, so he is just like that other chick who wasn't from the area but moved there. Not that that's working against him currently, but interesting. First challenged moderate rep Tony Gonzalez. Um, our San Antonio in 2024, criticizing him for voting in favor of a bipartisan gun safety bill in the wake of a deadly school shooting in Uvalde, a city in the district. He forced Gonzalez into a runoff, but ultimately lost by fewer than 400 votes. I'm sorry, I'm not I am laughing, but I don't know why. He What was the gun safety bill? The Bipartisan Safer Communities Act signed by President Biden in 2022, following the Uvalde shooting, is the most significant federal gun safety legislation in nearly 30 years. It enhances background checks for buyers aged 18 to 21, funds state red flag laws, closes the quote unquote boyfriend loophole, and invests in mental health. Um, the boyfriend loophole is prohibits domestic abusers from purchasing firearms even if they are dating rather than married to the victim. Um, I will admit I am not an expert on gun legislation, but this doesn't seem like a bad law. Like a lot of Republicans had to cross the aisle for this to get passed. Looks like it focuses on mental health more than anything and school safety. Wonder why it didn't really restrict gun ownership. It seems like a really weird thing to criticize him for. But again, if you're a gun YouTuber. So, okay. This time, Herrera finished first in the primary and became the GOP nominee after Gonzalez dropped his reelection bid. The move came as Gonzalez was facing intense backlash for having an affair with a staffer who later died by suicide. After the married father of six admitted to the extramarital tryst, House Speaker Mike Johnson and other top Republicans had called for him to end his campaign. Yeah, no shit. There was no love lost between the two GOP foes, whose rivalry has divided the GOP locally since their initial 2024 match. Gonzalez previously called Herrera a quote unquote known neo Nazi, while Herrera has referred to the congressman as a quote back bitch coward unquote. So professional of it. Known for his freewheeling use of brash, profane language and being intentionally provocative in a way that may be recognizable to digital natives but would be highly unusual in Congress, Herrera has built a strong campaign operation but not watered down his style. See, I feel like it's totally reasonable to not want to come off like a completely different person when you're running for a political campaign. But I still think that if you're going from a community where, you know, as a YouTuber, a lot more is acceptable to then focusing on um I don't know, running for Congress, like representing a bunch of people in a large district, it kind of is worth altering your style or adjusting a little bit to meet the moment, I guess. Padilla Stout said her concerns about both candidates led her to get into the race. I decided to run because I thought that this seat was one that was winnable for Democrats, given Tony Gonzalez's scandal that we all knew about in September. Oh shit, yeah. They had known about this for a while, and it only came back up in the news because the girl he was, oh, I'm sorry, the woman he was having an affair with. So, um, Pia Stout said in an interview, that, I didn't feel someone like that could accurately represent me and my family. Yeah, that's what I mean, right? You're looking for a representative of a large population of people, and I'm pretty sure that like Brandon Herrera and his, quote unquote brash style, not watered down, is not going to be the most popular unless he's trying to be Trump 2.0, which he is a Trump dick suck, so that wouldn't surprise me. Then Padilla Stout continued, when she saw Herrera was the alternative option, I decided I couldn't just allow him to represent my children or my values or the people of Texas's 23rd. Excuse me. President Donald Trump won the seat by 15 percentage points, similar to his margin in South Texas, South Texas's 15th congressional district. But while national Democrats put the 15th district on the party's target list and recruited Tejano musician Bobby Pulido, I don't know him, to run there, the 23rd district initially attracted none of the same interest. But Democrats now see encouraging signs across the district. More Democrats voted in last week's primary than Republicans. Hell yeah! Dope! A majority of the district's eligible voters are Hispanic. In a cycle which polls, special elections, and primary turnout all suggest Latinos have swung back towards Democrats, and both Gonzalez's scandal and the subsequent ascension of Herrera give Democrats hope that Padilla Stout can attract moderate voters. Already, Democratic groups have been blasting out controversial clips of Herrera's YouTube channel, including footage of him referring to a gun as the quote original ghetto blaster, unquote, making Holocaust jokes, simulating the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., and discussing owning a copy of Mein Kampf. Herrera has maintained that accusations that he is anti Semitic or a neo Nazi are smears. I don't know, man. Not a good look. The accusations against Brandon Herrera are bizarre, desperate, and false. Herrera campaign manager Kimmy Gonzalez said in a statement, Brandon has never done or said anything anti Semitic. Really? We're gonna say never, ever? And he has earned the support of leaders of the Jewish community. In Brandon's work as a historical firearms educator, He has simulated the execution and poisoning of Adolf Hitler. The misleading clip about Brandon's rare book collection omits his comments ridiculing and condemning Hitler's book. Okay, well, let's see the clip. But Democrats think voters will find Herrera offensive. I don't think I'm going to have to do much to draw a contrast between myself and Mr. Herrera, Padilla Stout said. I think that those facts are going to speak for themselves. True. About the district, the 23rd Congressional District is the largest by land area in Texas. It includes 27 counties stretching from El Paso County along the border in West Texas, including Big Bend, to take part of San Antonio. God, to take in part of San Antonio. Nearly half the district's population is in Bexar County, including more Republican leaning areas northwest and southwest of San Antonio. The rest are scattered between small cities and towns west of Bexar County and along the border, from Del Rio and Eagle Pass to Hondo and Uvalde. Representing the district in Congress is one of the more difficult assignments in Texas. Members are expected to be conversant in everything from rising housing costs in San Antonio suburbs to the invasive New World screwworm affecting livestock on West Texas ranches to the challenges of border communities. There's a picture of the. In 2024, had the district existed in its post redistricting form, Trump would have won it by a 15-point margin, while Senator Ted Cruz would have carried it by 8. Historically, it has been represented by moderates, owing to its former status as a swing district. In the late 2000s and 2010s, the district changed hands in 4 successive elections, alternating between Democrats and Republicans. Former Rep. Will Hurd, a moderate Republican and Trump critic, won in 2024, and Republicans have held the district ever since, thanks in part to a 2021 round of redistricting that made the seat more favorable for the GOP. Okay. Since he first won the district in 2020, Gonzalez has also benefited from the rightward shift of Latino voters, particularly in the district's border counties. In 2024, he won the general election by a margin of about 24 points. Holy sh! That year, Gonzalez captured all but 2 of the district's counties, uh, Presidio and Zavala. Never heard of them. Underscoring the difficulty for a Democrat in turning the tide, even in Democratic precincts in Bexar County. Gonzalez ran ahead of Cruz and Trump, contributing to his large margin. But for the first time in over a decade, the Republican nominee is not a moderate. Herrera has maintained in both cycles that the district is to Gonzalez's right. I don't know if I believe that, but added that he intends to campaign hard in the general election. Before the March primary, Herrera told the Tribune that if he won the nomination, he would campaign on issues that include, quote, epidemic of rural hospital closures across southwest Texas and the affordability crisis facing too many of our working families. Topics that hold broader crossover appeal than partisan ones, like gun rights, that have defined his political brand so far. Yeah, the rural hospital closures and the affordability crisis is kind of caused by Trump, too, so good luck with that. It's a very conservative district, Herrera said in a post-primary video posted to his YouTube channel. I do have that in my favor, but it's going to be a tumultuous midterm. I've got a philosophy, always fight like you're behind. Polling by the Democratic firm Public Policy Polling, conducted on behalf of House Majority PAC and shared with the Texas Tribune, underscored Democratic optimism. In a sample of 521 voters, which favored Trump voters by 12 points, Herrera led Padilla Stout by a narrow margin of 42% to 40%. did. The poll was conducted over Tuesday and Wednesday. Thea Stout is banking her campaign on winning over moderates who might feel turned off by Herrera's brash conservatism. At the same time, she acknowledged she's a tad more progressive than Democrats who previously represented the district, saying, quote, times are more progressive than when those members served in Congress. The attorney said she's already received outreach from Republicans validating her theory. Interesting. We've actually been flooded with a lot of emails on our campaign site from Republicans essentially saying that I've been Republican my entire life. I've never voted for a Democrat. I don't know this woman. She seems like a decent person, and he does not seem like a decent person. And if my party is not going to put up candidates that are decent, then I guess I'm helping you, Istow said. Oh, yep. General election. Republican leaders in Washington had initially been behind Gonzalez, but they say Herrera's ascension to the nomination does not change their calculus. Texas's 23rd district is deep red, and Democrats know it. NRCC spokesperson Christian Martinez said, while they talk a big game in Washington, they don't even have a credible recruit and are too busy defending their own vulnerable members across Texas to compete. While mentioning Herrera's name, Martinez said voters in the district, quote, will once again elect a Republican who will secure the border, lower costs, and stand up for Texas. Don't believe you. Both Trump and House GOP leadership had endorsed Gonzalez this cycle. The National Republican Congressional Committee um, had spent money on joint ads for Gonzalez in the primary. The leaders of both groups eventually called on Gonzalez to drop out of the runoff. Republicans point to a significant fundraising discrepancy in the candidates as one reason for confidence. Thea Stout had raised less than $45,000 as of mid-February, while Herrera's haul stood at over 850,000, though he spent nearly all of it during the primary. He also has a joint committee with a PAC that raised over 1.4 million, most of which was also spent ahead of March 3rd. Holy shit. But Padilla Stout's fundraising has grown exponentially since Gonzalez's affair scandal spilled into public view. In the week before the primary, she raised over $40,000. And in the 48 hours after Gonzalez dropped out, she received over $50,000 in donations, according to her. If national Democrats choose to spend money on the district, they could deploy millions late in the cycle, a tactic that the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee and House Democrat aligned House Majority PAC has used in prior uphill races. Doing so could force Republicans to spend money defending the seat that they would have used elsewhere. Local Democrats say Padilla Stout is worth the investment and that an energized Latino electorate can flip the seat. Esmeralda Rodriguez, chair of Democrats of Northwest Bexar County, was encouraged by the primary and said she thinks Padilla Stout has a, quote, really good chance of winning. Quote, I think the path is getting the Latino vote, Rodriguez said. And we saw energy in the primary. And we saw it in the primary. That really, really high turnout, it brought the energy back, unquote. The Democratic poll also found a distaste among voters for some of Herrera's more controversial comments. 62% of respondents said a Herrera joke about veteran suicide, saying, quote, I often think about putting a gun in my mouth, so I'm basically an honorary veteran, unquote, gave them concerns, while 58% were concerned about his ownership of Mein Kampf. You know, I don't really give a fuck about his ownership of a book. But that quote is pretty fucked up. That's pretty shitty. I guess a veteran I would probably be like, "What the fuck is your problem, dude?" The poll found that Herrera starts the general election race underwater, with 29% of voters having a favorable opinion of him and 35% viewing him unfavorably, while over 60% of voters said they were unfamiliar with Padilla Stout. Her favorability rating stood at 21% favorable to 17% unfavorable. Well, that's good. Like, above water at least. Herrera, for his part, said his focus has turned to, quote, bringing the party back together, unquote. How is he doing that? He like reuniting Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens? Great. His campaign manager noted that he's held public events in all 27 counties in the district and that he intends to campaign on issues including border security, job creation, veterans health care, and keeping rural hospitals open. Quote, the job isn't done, but from day one, we wanted to unseat an anti gun, rhino Republican in name only, somebody who voted against the interests of the district, of his people, somebody who was out for himself, and he let us suffer for it. Now, no matter what happens going forward, we will always be able to say that we were successful in that and that we are the reason Tony Gonzalez is out of a job. I don't think you're the reason. Pretty sure his sexting scandal was the reason, but you can take credit for that if you want. Oh, and this was the survey. Ooh. So Donald Trump is underwater with favorability. More people would vote for the Democratic candidate for Senate, Talarico. More people would vote for Talarico over Cornyn and Paxton. Ooh, okay, it's pretty close. Without names, they still lean Republican for the candidate. More people disapprove of Trump's performance. They disapprove of his handling of the economy. They disapprove of the way he's handled inflation and affordability. They disapprove of the way he's handling Iran. Yeah, crazy. She is not far behind. My God. If the candidate for governor this fall were Democrat Gina, I don't know how to say her last name, or Greg Abbott, who would you vote for? That is neck and neck. It's crazy. All right, I don't want to read all this. Sorry. So yeah, not a fan of the gun guy. You have family in San Antonio, so I would prefer them to have a candidate that adequately reflects their interests. And being in Colorado, there's not like I have a lot I can do when it comes to um like canvassing or boots on the ground type work for this campaign. But figured I can at least talk about it. The one thing that sucks is my Spanish is not that great, and they heavily populated Spanish speaking district would benefit me to. If anybody wants to help me work on my Spanish, let me know. It's crazy. That makes sense. I don't know what. Hello. My mic cutting out? That would suck if I did this whole stream and most of it was cut off. I'm gonna have to test it later. What sucks, like, I can't even see if any without pulling up. I can't figure out. I don't even know my mic is picking up. Okay. What about okay. think Twitch is okay. Idea. I want I don't even know what I changed. Um, okay. I'm gonna have to listen back to this video. I can even hear it. Okay. Well, probably gonna call it there for now. If anybody did watch you, I appreciate it. I hope it was somewhat entertaining, chaotic, promise. I'm gonna probably try to stream again later just to see if I fixed whatever issues I think I'm having. But it's hard to keep going if it seems like it's not going well. So, thanks. Love you. Hopefully, see you again soon. Hopefully, stream again tonight. I can figure out my shit.